Hot cross buns are classics, but not crossed buns? They might just be next level. If cinnamon buns and hot cross buns got married, these would be the kids. They're soft and fluffy and filled with warm spices, orange zest, and juicy fruit, and they might just become your new Easter morning tradition. So if this sounds like your kind of Easter baking, please hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get making some NOT Cross Buns. Before we activate the yeast, we want to zest an orange, and you're going to need 2 teaspoons of orange zest, so you might not need to zest the whole orange. And the reason we do the orange zest first is because we want to have the flavors diffuse through the sugar before we activate the yeast. So put your 2 teaspoons of orange zest in with 1/3 cup of sugar, and you can add also your yeast at this time. I'm using 2½ teaspoons of quick rise yeast. If you only have the packets, that's 2 1/4 teaspoons, and that's fine too, that's enough. But if you have it in a jar, use 2½ teaspoons. You just want to blend that together to break up the zest and spread it into the sugar. Because once the orange gets in the sugar, it just helps the flavor blend throughout the buns better than if we added it later and it stays in little clumps. Next, we need to heat up a cup of milk, and I'm going to heat mine up in the microwave, so I'm just going to transfer it out of the plastic container into a mug. And you also at this time want to double check your yeast container and make sure you're heating your milk to the correct temperature of your brand. And for the Quick Rise Fleshman's brand, it's 120 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 to 55 degrees Celsius. So let's heat up our milk and we'll add it to the yeast. And I'm not sure if you guys can see, but we're right in the middle of the range. So you want to just stir that into your yeast now. And then we need to let this sit for 10 minutes. While the yeast is activating, let's prep our spices. Cinnamon and allspice happen to have antimicrobial properties. And if we add those directly to the yeast, they can kill the yeast. So we're going to give the yeast a head start by mixing the spices in with some of the flour. So I've got 1/2 cup of flour here, and to that I want to add a teaspoon of allspice and a teaspoon of cinnamon. And we just want to stir that in so it's all nicely coated in the flour. So let's just set that aside and we'll add it to our batter in a bit. We also want to whisk 1 egg that's at room temperature. And then we're going to go check and see how our yeast is doing. You can see here that our yeast is nice and foamy, which is a great sign. If yours doesn't get foamy, you need to check the expiry date on your yeast or check your temperature and redo this part, because if you don't get foamy yeast, you're not going to get fluffy buns. So now that our yeast is ready to go, you want to add that 1 egg that you whisked and a teaspoon of salt and 1 cup of flour. I'm using a handheld mixer that you can see has the kneading paddles on it. If you have a stand mixer, you can put your kneading paddles on that and use those to do most of the work for you now. So you want to mix that in until the flour is completely absorbed. And then you want to add a 2nd cup of flour. And we're going to mix that in until all the flour is completely absorbed. Now I want to add that 1/2 cup that has the spices, because this has worked for a bit and it's got all the flour mixed in around the yeast. So I think it's a safe spot to add that 1/2 cup of flour. You just want to take your time if you are using a handheld mixer, because you don't want to burn out the motor. And you just go nice and slowly. And the good news is the kneading paddles are doing most of the kneading work for you. So we'll have less to do at the end here when it's time to knead it by hand. One of the other secrets to fluffy buns is cold butter, or at least room temperature butter. I have tried it with the melted butter versus this way, and this actually makes a difference. So we're going to do that. But we want to do it 1/2 at a time. So total butter is 6 tablespoons. So we're going to add 3 tablespoons. Make sure it's fully blended in. It might take a minute to do it this way versus the melted butter. We just want to make sure it's fully blended in before we add the 2nd batch of butter. So we'll blend this last batch of butter in. At this point we have 2 1/2 cups of flour in the mix. So I've got 1 more cup measured out to go, but we might not use it all. So I'm only going to add about 1/3 cup at a time. And we'll completely knead that in before we add any more. And this is where you check for consistency. to see if you need any more, because using less flour in your buns makes them fluffier. So it's not quite crawling up the paddles yet, so I'm going to add a little bit more. How much flour you'll use depends literally sometimes on the day, and for sure it depends on where you live and the humidity in the air where you're cooking. So you want to turn your dough out onto a lightly floured surface. And as you can see, there's no flour on my surface because when I added that last bit of flour, I think we got pretty much to the 3-cup mark. And I don't think I'm going to need any more. But if your dough is a little bit sticky, then you do want to just do a light dusting of flour on your countertop, which you want to make sure is clean. Hands clean and clean countertop. And I'll just check it out here. Yeah, I don't think we really need much, if any, flour. Because you can see I'm not sticking to the counter. If you've never kneaded dough before, this is how you knead dough. You kind of get it into a ball, and then using the heels of your hands, push it forward, and it starts to make a kind of elongated ball. So just turn it on its side and repeat. And every time you push, just pull it back towards yourself. Push, pull, push, pull. It looks sort of like a football. Turn it on its side, push, pull. And you just want to do this for a couple of minutes. Kneading dough helps develop the gluten structure and makes it nice and elasticy, which is what we want. So as the gases release and they get trapped in all that elasticy dough and make fluffy buns. What I like to do at this point is have a little bit of olive oil on hand, and you want your bowl back, and just rub some olive oil or coat your ball of dough in olive oil. Or you can use butter too, but olive oil gets the job done nice and quick. And then we want to pop it back in our bowl and cover it with some plastic wrap. And we're going to let this stand for only 10 minutes with the quick rise yeast. While the yeast is resting, let's make the filling, the way they used to make it in the bakery when I was just a kid. They would pre-mix things together rather than just spread the butter on the dough. And that makes a difference. So we have 1/3 cup of softened butter here. Soften that a little more and add 1/2 cup of brown sugar and mix it up well until it's completely creamy. And next we want to add 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla and cream that in so it's nicely blended. And one last ingredient, and that would be more cinnamon. It's okay to add more cinnamon at this phase of their bun making because it's not right in the dough. So if you're a big cinnamon lover, you can go as far as adding an entire tablespoon. So you just want to blend the last of that cinnamon in, and we'll set it aside. A couple other goodies we need to get ready before we start rolling is to have 1/3 cup of golden raisins, 1/3 cup of currants, and 1/3 cup of candied citrus peel at the ready. Another little trick I like to do at this stage of the making is turn on the oven till the lowest temperature possible and only leave it on for about a minute and then shut it off and open the door just a crack, because that creates the perfect environment for our buns to rise in when we're finished. And maybe I came up with this one because I live in a cold place and my butter mixture tends to get hard. So I just pop this in there for a minute too, and it softens it enough so it's nice and spreadable. We also need to prep our pan before we start rolling the buns. And I'm using about 2 tablespoons of butter to grease the pan. This is not an occasion for that spray pan stuff. You want to use real butter. And I'm using a little more than we actually need because I kind of want to sticky bunize them a little bit. It makes them extra awesome. So 2 tablespoons of butter. And then if you happen to have a little bit of extra orange zest, you can add some of that. And I'm adding 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And I'll just spread it around, even on the sides a little bit, makes it nice. Because then when you get one of those edge buns, it's not edgy. It's got some sweetness on the sides. So there won't be anybody fighting over who gets the buns in the middle of the pan. As you can see, the dough didn't rise a whole lot, which is fine, because that's what quick rise dough does. And now we just want to pat it out into a rectangle. You can pat it out or roll it out. Either works just as well. The idea is you just want to make sure that your corners are as square as possible. And size-wise, it probably rolls out to about, I don't know, 22 inches, 22 inches. It doesn't really matter as long as you have enough to cut 12 sections of bun. Once you have it nicely rolled into or patted into a rectangle, it's time for the filling. And see, you want it nice and spreadable. So if you go to do this and yours is too thick because the butter got cold, just warm it up a touch. And then it'll spread nice like icing. You want to cover the whole surface, but leave a 1/4 inch edge on one of the long sides. And then we want to just sprinkle our toppings on. And the candied orange peel can be a little bit sticky sometimes. So if it is, you just want to spread it around as best you can so it's evenly distributed. And it might be easier to do with a fork. And then add our raisins. Put our currants on there, and I'll show you how to roll this up. You want to make sure you have a little bit at the ends too, so that the end buns still have filling in them, because we all have a tendency to throw it all in the middle. So just make sure you get it spread out to the edges. To roll the buns, start on the long edge that has the filling all the way to the edge. And as you roll, tuck the front end under as you go. This helps keep the rolls nice and tight. And then when you get to the end, instead of continuing to roll it this way, bring up that edge and pinch it shut. That's why we left that edge without any filling on it, so that the dough will stick together. So just pinch it a couple of times, and then we're going to roll that too, just to smooth it. I like to pinch the ends shut too, so we don't lose any filling there. And then you want to cut it into 12 equal portions, and then we'll pop them in our pan. And when you've got your pan full, we want to just cover it, this time loosely, with a piece of plastic wrap, or you can just use a clean cloth. And we're going to tuck it away somewhere warm and cozy for about an hour, hour and a half, till they've doubled in size. I'm going to pop mine in the oven and do that trick I mentioned, where you turn your oven on briefly, like at the lowest temperature for a quick less than a minute, and turn it off because you want it warm and cozy but not too hot. That cozy oven trick really works, because these were only rising for about 45 minutes and they are ready to go. They've doubled in size. So my oven is preheated to 375, and I'm going to pop those in now for 20 to 30 minutes until they're just golden brown on top. Our buns are ready. And how you tell if they're ready is you do the tap test. At least that's what I like to do. Can you hear that? When you tap it in the middle, when it sounds kind of hollow, that's a good indication, not to mention all the beautiful golden brown. While the buns are still warm, I like to give them just a light coating of butter. You don't even have to melt the butter. I'm just dipping my brush in cold butter, and the heat of the buns is melting them, because look at how beautiful. This one glistens and this one's kind of dry. Both delicious. This one just looks more appealing. You guys, you got to try this recipe. You're going to love them. They smell so good. You just want to let them cool for about 5 to 10 minutes and then turn them out onto a cooling rack. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you like the printable kind of recipes, I'll put a link in the description where you can buy them on my Etsy shop. But I will also have all the ingredients listed in the description for you, so you can just follow the video and bake along with me as well. Thanks a lot. Have a fabulous Easter. See you again on the next video.